Hey guys, Charlamane here. Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to be back with you guys. I took a little bit of a hiatus between momming, working on different projects for Strut, Model and Talent Agency, my other baby, and attending a marriage retreat. I have been busy. If you are new here, welcome. Just a few housekeeping rules. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well as a thumbs up and continue enjoying the Pop Talk. There is nothing like being back with you guys just to share all my thoughts while I was away, just working on different projects. I was staying up to date with all the things I wanted to come and talk to you guys about. I'm like, I can't wait to get back to them just to share my thoughts. So a lot of things happened while I was gone, of course, because you know celebrity pop culture does not sleep. But honey, I needed to take a break to work on the other things that were more important at the moment. And one of the things that was catastrophic apparently was Mr. Safaree leaking a video of himself completely nude, and he broke the internet. So remember in my other video when Kim Kardashian supposedly broke the internet with some nude or implied nude photos of her in braids, blah blah blah, and then I said when the internet is broken, who fixes it? And no one was able to give me the answer to that. But you know guys, if you're new or you're returning, you remember you gotta keep up to date with all the videos because everything connects, and I'm always referring back to older videos, so you gotta watch it. If you miss a video, you miss a lot. Anyway, so back to Safaree. He supposedly broke the internet with showing off his goods to the whole world, and I have to tell you that I think it's quite cheesy and corny that we're in this culture of people just like leaking sex tapes or nude videos of themselves because it makes them famous for 15 seconds. Like, you know, and then there's also the double standard about when men do it versus when women do it, because a few weeks prior to that, Black China had an issue where a tape of her was leaked and people were saying that she leaked it because, you know, she wants to stay current and relevant in the news. She claimed it wasn't. Safaree, him leaking the video, he gained so much notoriety. People are thinking like he's so cool now and his music is good, all because he showed himself to the world. I don't think there's anything cute about it. I think that is quite tacky, tasteless. I could go on and on about it, but I don't think it really deserves any much more of my time. And I'm gonna move on and talk to you about Auntie Monique, who showed up on The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne God, Angela Yee, and DJ Envy. So Charlamagne gave Monique a donkey of the day when she was on her crusade, calling for people to boycott Netflix because, like I shared with you before, she was offered a deal to do a special of $500,000, and it was quite a low ball as far as she's concerned. And so she's been really just bringing awareness to gender bias and color bias, and maybe just even like age bias as well. Anyway, so Charlamagne gave her the donkey of the day, and the donkey of the day, if you don't know, if you don't listen to The Breakfast Club, that's okay, I got you covered, is basically when he thinks that someone is like absolutely ridiculous and they just deserve a hee-haw. So he gave it to her and she came up there to get some answers from him. But the whole interview, I'm not going to give you all the details about it. You can feel free to watch it on your own time because I've got a lot to cover in this video. However, what was really funny to me is the fact that what we refer to in New York as like sunning, that's exactly what she did to Charlamagne, because she refused to call him that. She called him by his government name, which at first she thought was Leonard, but was corrected quickly and discovered that it's Leonard. And I could see why he changed his name from Leonard to Charlamagne God, because I wouldn't want to be called Leonard either. Now, I just like, I can't even get myself together as I'm telling you this story because I just find it so funny. Like anything she had to say to him, she was like, and yes, Leonard, and Leonard, and exactly Leonard, and I don't agree, Leonard. It was just so funny to me that she kept calling him by his name. There was nothing funnier to me, honestly. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like she was just, you know, like when you do something wrong and your mother or looking for your husband, like you call them like cute little pet names, but the minute they turn you off, honey, it's first name basis and I'm calling you by your government. And that's exactly what she did to Mr. Charlamagne. Anyway, I don't think she got the answer as to why he gave her a donkey of the day, but she was up there, they had a great conversation, and it was quite hilarious. Something that's not so funny that happened while I was on a hiatus is the fact that Auntie Wendy Williams, that is, took a hiatus as well. And I was like, man, she's going on hiatus, so I don't want to be. I want to be able to keep the people updated with my pop talk, but I had things to do too. Her reason for being on a hiatus had to do with her having an illness, and she has Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism. So people were making all these comments about, like, she's so stressed. You know, she had that issue the other time back last year during Halloween episode where she passed out, and at first we thought it was a fluke. I actually thought she had a heart attack. I was quite afraid for her. She claimed it was due to dehydration, but as the time went on, the illness got worse and people were just really concerned about her. Nevertheless, you would probably notice if you watch her as religiously as I do that she, like, her eyes would like pop out of her head quite a few times, and it was kind of scary to see. But basically with the Graves' disease, she's got like these muscles behind her eyes that like pull, and so it causes her eyes to gouge out quite often. And then like with the hyperthyroidism and the combination, it just isn't a good mix. And so her doctor ordered her to be off of work for 3 weeks. Like, that's fantastic, right? Like, your doctor's like, you're so ill, you just need to rest and go on vacation for 3 weeks. I want that kind of diagnosis. Not like the illness, but like, I prescribe you vacation is what everybody wants to hear from their doctor, honestly. She's been gone. She comes back officially on March 19th, but the show is currently running for the whole week, Nude, with host Jerry McConnell. And he's quite funny. I haven't been watching because I just haven't had the time to keep up. And every time I think I should DVR it, I haven't just remembered. But Jerry McConnell is really funny, and he's been doing a fantastic job. From the little tidbits that I've been seeing from Instagram and Facebook, and people are like, oh, we love you, Jerry, you're doing such a great job. We actually don't want Wendy back, but hello, it's her show. I want to see her back. I love to hear her point of view on things. So see you on March 19th, Auntie Wendy. While I was away as well, Black Panther, which we cannot stop talking about, we can't get enough of. I can't get enough of it. Everywhere I'm going, I am Wakandaing forever. I just keep wearing like Ankara prints, different things, because I am just all about Wakanda, okay? So Black Panther was on track to do over $1 billion, and it has done exactly that. For the last 4 weeks of it being open in the box offices internationally, it has grossed over $1 billion. It's very exciting to see, and they have announced a sequel, which we kind of knew was coming because of what we saw at the end of the movie. I think there's going to be several sequels. We need it, and Marvel is smart. They're like, yo, we made a lot of money and we want to keep making money, and people are going to keep showing up. We're never going to get tired of seeing Black Panther, Okoye, Nakia, Shuri, M'Baku. I mean, we're just here for all of them. So, and Marvel understands that, so they're going to just keep giving us what we want. What's also great for the box offices as well is A Wrinkle in Time. It has been doing fantastic. 2 Black directors, one and 2 neck and neck for the top grossing films. Ryan Coogler, Ava DuVernay, A Wrinkle in Time has had a huge budget as well of over $100 million, and it's the first time ever given to a female Black director at that. So that was history in its own. But even though Black Panther has been out for several weeks now, it's still #1 at the box offices, and A Wrinkle in Time came in second on opening for its debut. So that's great for us. We're so happy to see all of movies that catering to our people, and it's really decreasing those stereotypes that no one wants to see what we make, because clearly we're making bank. So keep it coming, people, because I'm excited to see more. Now that I've caught you up on all of those things, here is what's current and up to date. Mr. O.J. Simpson is back in the news since he's been released from prison. Actually, like, he just has not, there's not really been a week that's passed that you haven't talked about him. And he's about that life. He likes to be in the public eye, and so here he is again. And this time it is with what many are calling a confession to the murder of his wife, his ex-wife, Nicole, and Ron Goldman. Now, in this interview with Judith Regan, who is a publisher, in 2006, she sat down with him for an interview on the book that he wrote called If I Did It. Now, this interview special was called O.J. Simpson, The Lost Confessions. And back in 2006, when the book came out and she did this interview with him, Fox got a lot of backlash on it, so they actually never aired the special. But it was like this 2-hour special situation where Soledad O'Brien, along with Judith Regan, and Chris Darden, who was on the prosecution, and several people were on this panel, and they listened to this interview intently that he had. Now, the book went on to be published in 2007, and 90% of the money was given to the Goldman family that the book earned, because they sued him in a civil lawsuit, and there was a certain amount of money that they were supposed to get from him. Anyway, so in this interview, which I began watching, but I had just come home from the marriage retreat that I told you guys that I went on, and I was so exhausted, and we also had a couple over right as we got home, and just there was a lot going on. So I was tired, and between taking a nap and watching it, I was really, like, there were a lot of emotions that I was feeling, because here it is, this man, initially he was talking in like the third person, kind of like, and he brought up this person named Charlie, and supposedly him and Charlie went to the house, and again, he was giving the interview based on the book that he wrote called If I Did It. He was kind of giving an example of how he would have done it. Now, I don't even think that should be a conversation. Like, if you did not murder somebody, why would you be talking about if you did it, like presenting a scenario of how you would have done it? You know, in the interview, he was so angry at her still, and he was talking about like being at her funeral and at the graveside, and just like wishing that she could wake up so he can finish telling her how displeased he is with her and all these things. And I'm like, yo, this man is bananas. I can't imagine anyone in my life right now who I'm not particularly a fan of, that I really don't like. Because I was having this conversation with my husband. I was like, this is so crazy. Like, if someone that you don't like dies, it's just done. I think it should automatically disappear, like, because the fact that they're dead is a bigger deal than whatever issues you guys have with each other. So I said to my husband, I'm like, there are people right now that I'm not really a fan of, and if they died, I wouldn't be thinking, yeah, and I wish I would have said this to you, and that to you, and that to you. I would be thinking, oh my goodness, I should have made up with you, we should have resolved this, just so I can have peace. Maybe I'm just strange, or OJ is what people call him, a sociopath, a psychopath. Like, that's just so crazy. And so he began talking in the third person and brought this Charlie person into the picture, but then he went off script and began speaking in the first person, like I. And then he calmed himself, and then he started laughing hysterically, matter of fact, like, you know, yeah. It was really, really bananas. And so he also admitted to the fact, when he was in the first person, that the glove is his, and that he left it at the scene, because if you remember from the trial many moons ago, that there was this whole Johnny Cochran, if the glove don't fit, we must acquit, and he was trying on the glove. And Chris Darden, who was actually on the panel, was the person that said, you know, let's try on the glove or whatever on the prosecution, and he got ridiculed for that, because OJ put the glove on and he pretended like it didn't fit, but it was actually his glove, according to this lost confession interview that he did with Judith. And he was saying, yeah, I left it there. So Chris Darden is kind of vindicated a little bit, I guess. And, you know, the unfortunate part about all of this is that because he was tried already and he was acquitted, that because of double jeopardy, he cannot be convicted of this crime again. Because I was asking my husband, I was like, oh, you know, what's the statute of limitations on these things? Like, if you kill somebody and then now you're basically confessing to it, what do they do? Because once upon a time, very, very long time ago, I wanted to be a lawyer, but then here I am talking to you guys about pop culture. So clearly that train left the station a long time ago. But nevertheless, that was really creepy to watch. What do you guys think? I mean, his so Sean, one of the lawyers on the defense, she got on TMZ and she was saying she doesn't think he confessed. He's much smarter than that. He was talking in hypothetical, third person. There was something really interesting though about that conversation that she was having with TMZ guys, because she was saying, they said to her like, did you have full confidence about something? And she was like, who said I had full confidence? So even she believes that he did it, but because that's her client, you've got to do the job that you were hired to do, right? Like, you're the defense attorney and you have to work as hard as you can to get your client off, and that's exactly what they did. But she herself, I think, also believes that he did it. I mean, it was kind of in everybody's minds anyway that he had killed these two people in cold blood, but this interview kind of just confirmed it because it came directly from his mouth, even though he was hypotheticaling it and talking in the third person. But then he went off on a tantrum in the first person, and it was like, okay, thank you for telling us what we already knew to be true. And speaking of truth, do you guys think it's true that Bruno Mars is a cultural appropriator? Because there's this whole conversation now going on about the fact that because he is of Filipino descent as well as Puerto Rican and Jewish, though he's on the darker complexion side, he's not black. He grew up in Hawaii, and so this young lady who's a writer and an activist named Safaree Sensei, she's a YouTuber, and she also does this series on African issues within the African American community. She was having this conversation, and this video of her went viral when she brought up the topic of Bruno Mars being a cultural appropriator. So the whole thing stems around the fact that, like, he won a Grammy for Best Album of the Year, and he's basically doing music that is black, right? Funk, hip-hop, R&B, all that stuff, but he himself is not black. And then her definition of black is not about, like, complexion necessarily. It's more of like African diaspora, like heritage, like you have a direct link from the continent of Africa. As far as I'm concerned, everybody has link from the continent of Africa, even though you're Filipino, you're Puerto Rican, like, that's just my personal opinion. And I don't know if I agree with her 100% about the fact that he's a cultural appropriator. I mean, the truth of the matter is that there are numerous people who do appropriate black culture and have made millions, even upwards of billion-dollar empires, like the Kardashians. I mean, they have taken black culture and ran with it. Everything that they've done to their bodies, from the things that they sell, the way they do their hair, I mean, just everything. Like, they have appropriated black culture, and they've gotten so much following, so many fans. They're celebrities just because of it, and everyone thinks it's okay. I mean, even Iggy Azalea came on the scene, and did you see her body? Total black girl, you know, all shape. But I mean, back to the Bruno Mars thing. She is saying, this young lady, Safaree Sensei, is saying that, yeah, Bruno Mars is appropriating black culture. And I mean, like, Prince never even won a Grammy for Album of the Year, and he is like the funk originator. And Bruno is doing music in that genre, and he's won. I mean, even like Beyonce's never won Album of the Year. And in fact, I mean, we know that Kanye like totally dismissed Taylor Swift when she won for it, and then most recently when Adele won, she basically like gave her Grammy to Beyonce. So Safareen's point is like, what do black people have to do to win a Grammy for their own music? Because here you have other people who are coming in that are not us, doing our music and then winning the accolades. I really don't know where I stand on this position. I don't know if I think he's a cultural appropriator. I mean, possibly, right? If we give it some thorough thought, there's a possibility there. Like, yeah, he's not black. He's doing black music, tripping and finesse, 24 karat magic, all these things that are groovy, make you move. And all of his influences are people that are black, Babyface, Michael, Prince. So, you know, New Edition, all of these guys that he grew up idolizing. She went as far as to say that he is not very talented, that he should be a karaoke singer at best, wedding performer, that he adds no value to the music. He just kind of steals what people that are black have already created. I don't know. I don't want to be dismissive of it, because it's kind of like, you know, you don't want to dismiss the bigger issue of if this is actually really a thing simply because someone's doing something that's entertaining. But then it's also like, how do you separate it? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. What do you think? Is he a cultural appropriator? I mean, of course, Black Twitter exploded, and many artists that are black, like Charlie Wilson, came to his defense and gave much credit to his talent. Yeah, I don't really know what position I have on it, other than the fact that I just really like his music right now, and I think he's talented. He's a yeah, that's really it. I'm gonna switch gears to something very tragic that happened in New York. There was a helicopter crash in the East River, and there were 6 people on board, 5 passengers, and then the pilot. The pilot, Mr. Richard Vance, was the only person that survived, and everybody else on board died when the helicopter crashed into the water. Now, one of the people that were in the helicopter, they have already filed a lawsuit claiming that Mr. Vance did not do the appropriate thing to help save anybody else but himself. Like, when he was freed, he did not go back and try to help the rest of the people on board. They're also suing the helicopter company because they're saying there were so many protocols that they didn't follow. Apparently, like, when the helicopter hit the water, there were these yellow, like, floaty things that was supposed to deploy and inflate, and that did not happen, and that's why the helicopter like turned on its side and caused it to sink even faster. Also, that Mr. Vance take the necessary precautions to secure all of the items that were brought on board, because it's being said that someone's bag was the cause of the helicopter to crash, because it jammed on something and shut something off, and then boom, into the water. It's really sad and unfortunate that something like that had to happen. One of the guys on board was a journalist, and you know, they were just young people. They actually uploaded a video right before they took off, and then it was like an 11-minute ride, and then boom. It's very tragic and quite unfortunate, and my prayers and thoughts go out to that family. And hopefully, I don't know where this lawsuit is going to go, but I do hope that there will be some kind of resolution, and that much more thought in terms of security will be taken on future rides. In other sad news, remember I talked to you guys about the Parkland shooting, and it was a big deal. It was all over the news, as it should be. So today, as I'm filming this video, is a month to the date that the shootings took place, and the students organized a march where other people around the country stood in solidarity with them at around 10 a.m. I believe is when they basically like arranged a walkout, and it was so crazy. So they got a lot of support, like people, elementary schools, high schools, colleges, junior high schools. People just really stood with them no matter what, because the truth of the matter is that all of those genres that I've talked about, like all of those people have been affected by mass shootings. Colleges, middle schools, high schools, elementary schools, they've all had their fair share, and it's very unfortunate. Now, what's even more ridiculous to me is the fact that people were getting suspended, getting detentions. They were being reprimanded for standing together with these students who had just experienced something so horrific. And I can't even find the sense in it. Like, why would you do something like that? If anything, everybody should be banding together, because clearly we see that it could happen anywhere at any time, and I don't see why you would want to suspend somebody or give them detention because they're banding together. But there is going to be a bigger march on March 24th called March for Our Lives that they've organized, and they were actually trying to get a permit for DC, and I think that it was revoked because they were having something else that's not even as significant there, but whatever. The students are still going forth and going ahead with the march. So, interesting story about this is that Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union donated $200,000 to the cause, and it's so funny that because there are a lot of celebrities banding together with the students, and though they are donating their money, they're not trying to be the face of the movement simply because it's not their fight per se. The students themselves have experienced this, and they're doing a great job on their own, actually, just like going to Washington, speaking to lobbyists and lawmakers and the NRA, and just having this really full conversation about how dangerous it is to allow people to have access to these kind of weapons. So anyway, back to Dwayne and Gabrielle. They donated this $200,000 to the cause, and this news station, WSVN, tweeted and said Dwayne Wade and his wife donated $200,000, and Gabrielle Union did not take well to that comment. She feels like it's very disrespectful. In fact, she tweeted and clapped back saying, you know what they think of you when they can't even say your name. Like, I have a name, I'm a person. And I guess she was just coming from a place of, yeah, that's disrespectful. Like, she's not just a quote-unquote basketball wife, so you don't need to just say Dwayne Wade and his wife as if no one knows who she is. She's had a very notable career of her own, separate from Dwayne Wade. So yeah, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, the two are one, but she is her own person and has had her own career before him. So I think that it was disrespectful that he didn't mention her. I'm on her side here, but you guys let me know what you think. And we have come to the end of Pop Talk. I don't want it to be over, but I've gotta go. But don't worry, we're back on track, and I want to hear your thoughts. Please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell so that you will get updates and notifications when I post new videos, so you won't miss a thing. And let me know your pop thoughts. I love to hear back from you, what you think on all of the topics that I give you. And as usual, until next time, darlings, ciao.